Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. 8 p.m. Alright, salutations, class, and welcome back. We are starting just on schedule tonight for Dead Cells, and this time I guarantee you we're going to make it work. I might dial back on the conversation a little bit, at least as we get to the more tense and involved levels. I hope you all will be rooting for me, because this time I'm planning on making it work. So, let us begin. Now, first things first, to allow ourselves to warm up a little bit, why don't we do a daily run here? Perfectly timed, we are right here on the hour. Siphon, Kayla, welcome. I know this is an absolute favorite for both of you. Adjust position, you gotta be in the right... That is a very loud squeaky chair. You know, I do plan on using the Scythe Claw soon, and it is one of my favorites. So let's get started. This is a very interesting weapon. It is all-out offensive and incredibly slow. The daily run gives you something up until 15 wins, I believe. I believe that's the last reward you find. So the Scythe Claw is a very interesting weapon that a lot of people like to use if they really know how to work this game. You'll need to be able to read your enemy's tells as good as possible, but you're blessed with the highest damage weapon in the game, no exceptions. WD-40, okay. I suppose I'll go to the hardware store sometime soon. Ooh. Well, we don't have to worry about making a choice since we get a stat for, a scroll for every stat here in the daily run. We'll go ahead and pick up our little leg hugger boy. Now, the Scythe Claw actually becomes really, really good when you pair it along with the Cocoon, which is another one of my favorite items. Basically, it allows you to have a shield on builds that otherwise would not normally have them. Here we go, an absolute speed run. 3 minutes on the clock for us to take down the concierge. You didn't leave my little friend behind, did you? It looks like we only get crits if we don't get hit previously. Noted. Yeah, it looks like our little pet was actually locked outside of the door. And you can see the damage it does with only 2 level ups on. There we go. Concierge defeated, and all in a manner shorter than 2 minutes. Here we get the Lacerating Aura, which is actually one of the concierge's weapons. That is essentially our equivalent of his little red spiky shield that he'll get. Let us resume. Now that we have something new and wonderful to unlock. So, what build to try this time? We'll see what our selection of weapons gives us. Out of our options here, I'd like to do as much damage as possible immediately, so let's pick the options on the left. Best enemies to use the Hunter's Grenade on. Really, that's more of a question of what are the best blueprints to find. So, what's your playstyle of choice? If you're willing to cheat a little bit, and I wouldn't recommend it, you can look up on the wiki. A lot of enemies drop a weapon similar to what they use. So, find an enemy whose weapon you like, and you'll be able to steal it with said grenade. Will not need those guts. We won't need this electric whip either. That's actually a wonderful weapon to take care of the little rats with. Let me take care of the Inquisitor down here first. Welcome, James. And swoosh back. And lose our streak. So, new thing to be learned. He's not going to flinch at all if we dash through him and hit the side that has the shield. At least on the other knights. They were called Guardians for a time. I don't know why they changed it. Really, I'd say don't focus on the Hunter's Grenade unless you actually are running out of weapon blueprints. If you have a lot of weapons to unlock right now, then I'd say just stick with unlocking what's already there. We already have just about everything we'd want, so no concern with what's going on in there. You'll have a visual indicator over an enemy's head if they have a weapon for you to unlock. It will look like the Hunter's Grenade. It's impossible to miss. I don't know that the bats actually have something to unlock. Get rid of the rat. Very excited, I see, Kayla. Well, we might be here a while. I think the weapons we have already are our best options. We might try to see if there is a brutality-related skill for us to pick up. The other shop should be around here somewhere. Oh, hello there. I wonder... Ah, that hits all of them, but not for enough damage. There we go, a little bit of poison ought to clear out all of them. Simple enough, we'll head over here. I'd rather have an actual skill that does something the instant I place it down, rather than a passive buff. Wow, you react fast. Very well, we'll have to be very careful around the Guardians then. Now, where to? What is it we've been recently trying to unlock? I think we got everything we were looking for, so it's a matter of getting to Fatal Falls, I would say. Which is best done... Let's route through Toxic Sewers, since that doesn't have to deal with any spinies. Or the, target dummies. Well, target dummies if we go through the corrupted prison, which, might as well. Let's do that. We will need that scroll. No 30 KOs for us. And... Ah, here's a wonderful time for us to try to pick up a new weapon. Let's go for that Swift Sword. Excellent choice. Makes a very interesting pair with Velocity. Let's not roll a new one on that one. You know what, if we are speedrunning, this is the perfect weapon to combo with Predator. Let me fix this during the loading screen, and get out of my chat, you machines. Filthy. Oh, interesting. We have something up here. I rarely see the level generation actually have something up in that window. Now, once we build up crits, it will be very easy to keep up a kill streak with this build. At least in groups of enemies, we'll be allowed to keep swinging. Keep a little bit of invisibility between each and every fight. Although, at this level, it's only going to really keep us invisible if we're fighting a bunch of enemies in a single group together. What is it at? Only 1.1 seconds? Yeah. That's not gonna be too much. It will allow us to kill those rats to fight that worm uninterrupted, though. 30 kills, no damage. And that's their biggest concern, is basically not taking damage. Now, a very interesting situation we have here is that we can try to see if we can look for a tonic, which, even if we're on a survival build, does give us a speed buff, and it makes the Swift Sword viable for bossing runs. No, the thing is about, bleeding in this game is it stacks. All of the status effects do stack. So you pile more of them on, and that's more DPS to be had. Now, the reason for open wounds is it's mostly supposed to combo with anything that has a bonus damage versus bleeding. The bleed effect in Dead Cells, after you stack it up enough times, does all the extra damage at once. So it basically stacks up an investment of that little bit of bleeding DPS, and then you cash it in once you build up 5 stacks. I actually think it would be an excellent choice for a run using a blood sword. We've got cojones, so let's go ahead and sell that healing item before we have to make the decision to use it later. After all, since we so easily dealt with the first few enemies on this floor, we shouldn't have any problem with the remainder. We'll be trying to speedrun through the biomes as quickly as possible, which will be very possible with a weapon designed explicitly for that purpose. Don't need this quick bow. Because of the predator Wave of Denial might have actually been a better choice in retrospect. It does help us deal with multiple projectiles at once. But alas, we're not going to be too concerned. So, interesting case here. I'll still pick tactics. I was going to go on a little ramble about how we have an amulet buffing our survival and we could swap to something else soon enough. But I think it's going to be a little bit before we come across another amulet. And a much better choice than Lightspeed, I'd say. A little bit of a fire on KO does actually let us do extra damage without worrying about getting ourselves hurt. We're going to immediately hop into this very generously placed challenge rift since we've already gotten our 60 kill streak, and you don't get any more bonuses after the first 60 kills. Funny enough, that actually is the amulet that I would have been talking about us swapping out. So now we have a little bit less health, since we didn't invest in survival there. And only 1 instance of damage. Good for us. What was behind the teleporting coffin here? So, you're welcome to bear witness to the invocative powers of my voice. As I said, we could try looking for a tonic. And a tonic we have found. Well then, our build is shaping out just as we want it to be. I'm not interested in your cutscene. That's the little guy that wanted the rune from us. Is that our whole biome then? Ah, we've missed a treasure chest. Let's go ahead and look in here. We might have something better than the shield or the telluric shock. Or, best case scenario, an even more powerful swift sword, but nope, once again we are gypped with the presence of so many enemies. The tonic will allow us to start racking up crits from a speed boost before we have gotten on a kill streak. It also will enable us to get crits at the beginning of our little walk through the corrupted prison here. Thought he was bigger at first, till you saw his dead body. Well, there's a better shield for us already. Tell me, Siphon, who are you referring to here? I might have missed something. Oh, you're talking about the guy hiding behind the jail cells. We've already gotten here in under 8 minutes, so we are doing wonderfully for time. This amulet will give us much more damage, which is currently our concern, especially since we're going to be opening up the cursed chest here. You know what? We'll save these cells for the forge, since this build looks so promising. We will keep the tonic basically until it is obsoleted by another tonic. Telluric shock will and generates the shield. So, we have a wonderful build here together. We will be scoring a lot of critical hits with this build. So, Instinct of the Master of the Arms will refresh our tonic and our telluric shock quite frequently. Loading screen, take a drink. And off we go again. A nice idea, but 457 DPS? That's a pretty significant damage buff. Unfortunately, we'll get more out of the critical hits, and for large groups of enemies, if we don't yet have invisibility, we'll need the telluric shock, especially in this place. We will have to take a bit of a risky speed run in order to make sure that we keep our invisibility, but it looks like we had a relatively easy dispel for that curse this time. Swift Sword is one of my favorite weapons, and if you can ever find a colorless version, or better yet, a legendary version on a survival build, then you can run a very wonderful tonic and Swift Sword hybrid build. You'll also see that the guy throwing grenades at us stopped his attack the instant we went invisible. Where do you see the number 4? I only see 3 on my end. We'll actually keep all of the items we have here this time. Now, usually we find some sort of a legendary weapon in one of the early biomes like this. We should basically be not taking any more damage for a while, so sell the food item it is, so we don't have to come back here. Ah, now I'm seeing 4. Might be Leviathan. A warm welcome to anyone who has decided to join us. 60 kills, no damage taken. We are doing wonderfully. We will still go on a spree here, since we're basically having very low risk attacks here. The extra little bit of gold will let us roll for something better further along. Run up here, get rid of the target dummy. I wonder if stomping on them with the Telluric Shock counts as melee kill. After all, it does count as a stomp, and if a stomp counts as a melee kill, we might have overlap. Yeah, YouTube is very weird about choosing how many viewers it's going to show at a time. So, if you want to know why the Swift Sword is such a good weapon for biomes, here's your answer. And unfortunately we have taken a bit of damage because, again, that is the most obnoxious enemy in the game. We can get some very nasty damage over time with the katana here. In fact, I think I will. Because we'll much more reliably be able to get the damage on it. Especially since we should have a boss coming up soon. We will not be going into the ancient sewers as that routes us away from Fatal Falls. So, onto the ramparts we go. Now I think we can focus on the bleeding buff for a weapon. Welcome back, Super Sanic. I see you found the Chaos Emeralds once again. Yep, let's still save up for the forge. This should be a very good run. Oh right, we lose the bleeding damage buff basically immediately. That will suffice. So, no focus on open wounds then. We could have kept the other weapon in our Porcupack. You know what? Let's go for combo for now. But we can try to see if we can find another Swift Sword. Then we can actually swap in with our backpack a Swift Sword for the biomes, and a different weapon, maybe even a giant killer if we can find one. Something else for when we get to bosses. I never actually considered the backpack viable for something like that, but we have so many new strategies to try. I do like the katana because it's one of the first weapons that actually has a versatile moveset attached to it. What with us getting the dash through attack whenever we hold the button. We will leave the watermelon there as we are likely to be taking damage while we're here. Get me another speed buff. The invisibility is doing wonders for our chain kills, so we'll still keep up the damage buff. This is exactly what makes Brutality build so much fun. You are running through and hacking through as many enemies as possible. And with swiftness, you don't have to wait on them. This brutality allows you to play proactively rather than reactively, which is what you have to do with survival, if you want to do its namesake and survive. Hey Sanic, do you think you could lend me one of those Chaos Emeralds? I might need it. The close combat shield also buffs up our damage even more, so wonderful weapon to use. Probably should have rolled or done a ground pound there instead. Honestly, the Master Herald would also lend me plenty of power. I'd appreciate that just as much. Elite enemy taken down without a sweat. We'll take the other one, which reduces damage from projectiles, as those are the most likely things to hit us. We have enough speed and damage that we shouldn't have to worry about taking melee hits, right? Knuckles would be mad, but we don't need his power, do we? This is an excellent run so far, let's keep it up. The boss should be showing up soon, and we have another 60 kill streak, so possibly a very good weapon for us to find. Now, our build here only really does work in biomes. It doesn't have much advantage against bosses, but the concierge should not be much of an issue to us at all. Give him an extra little stomp. And squash our faces on the ground here. Not any particularly better options here. I do like the high damage potential from the blood sword, but we'll keep the katana for now. The blood sword does not work very well with the predator build since it builds up DPS. You want basically high damage as much as possible, so you can chain together invisibility from the successive kills. And we have our answer here with a legendary weapon. Looks like twin daggers. Come here. And stomp. Pick this up first. Brutality. We're doing wonderful with all the damage we have so far, so might as well keep it. This we shall place in the backpack. Surprisingly, not much higher damage on the daggers, so we might actually swap them out, especially since they don't have a very good moveset. But the extra DPS from the poison should do wonderfully. It also has a much easier critical hit condition to satisfy. The third hit of the combo will be a crit, and get all the bonuses that come with it. Ice shards would be very fun if we were running a build that scaled with those stats. We could actually get the slowdown effect and then bonus damage towards slowdown enemies. Ah, never mind. This might actually be very wonderful with Predator since we have the high damage third hit, which we can use in a crowd of enemies. Slash you, go over here. Telluric Shock won't hit any of the enemies on the ceiling, but good news is it does still poison the ones on the ground. Now, the status effect with poison is that when an enemy is killed by poison damage, they explode into a toxic cloud. So that's another thing very good for helping us kill crowds of enemies at once, even if we don't have to directly attack all the tiny enemies in the air. Wonderful, but we're doing so well we don't need any food whatsoever. Heck, we don't even need the tonic anymore, but if you find a very good swift sword, we'll use that instead. Now that we've invested in the other two stats, this will definitely do a lot more damage than the potential of the katana. 3001 DPS, but only on critical hits. Normally the DPS is actually, surprisingly comparable between them. Of course, it does have a 15% damage buff, but it doesn't inflict poison, which is more stacking DPS for us. We got a lore room here, but probably nothing interesting. I do believe that... we are still missing one scroll. Head back up there and grab that real quick. And perfectly done. That's a reminder. There's a blueprint over here. I don't know if we've yet taken it. It looks like it only spawns sometimes, given that, normally we will have a wall on the side of the map. And there it is. The stun grenade. Now, I'm going to take a little risky look here. Looks like that is the border. There's actually a secret in which you find a few invisible platforms off the side there. Seems we have not triggered that on this generation. While we hardly need the little bit of money here, we will sell this just for the sake of completeness. And there we go. On to the first boss fight, and we have only taken damage once so far. Maybe I should focus on brutality builds a lot more in the future. We get 2 buffs to our main damage here, so obviously we will take that. Now, our number 1 priority here. We are not allowed to take any damage whatsoever. And to that end... let's actually swap out our tonic. Oh, wow! Oh, we forgot to pick the katana back up. Not that we'll need it. Give me a bonus here. We'll stack up passive damage on the concierge to wear him down while he's doing his lacerating aura. Xander, can you take care of the emeralds? I mean, I'd love to have such powerful artifacts if you'd be willing to lend them to me. Hey, buddy. Stay away from that. Drop this down. And we have not perfected it. Attacked a little quickly, didn't you? Seems I was underprepared. Even though we're doing such huge damage to him. We're not worried about taking a little bit of damage since we've already violated the condition for acquiring a new legendary weapon. Take all of the teeth that he dropped, sell that, sell that. Our twin daggers is only a 4. Hopefully we'll find a very good legendary weapon in the fractured shrines up ahead. Oh, how I wish we got that perfect. Boost it all the way to 20, especially since we don't need to focus on other weapons for now. We have plenty wide of a selection. I'm not sure that any of the options we have here would be better. At least not until late game. We'll swap them out when that comes around. Onto the fractured shrines we go. Sanic, is this a bit? Are you doing a bit here? I guess that technically counts as more viewers, doesn't it? Good. As little as I have to interact with those snake guys with the spear, the better. You keep changing form. You keep changing forms, that's what I mean. We'll leave that health there, funny enough, next to the health shop. Now we have something to worry about. And it's this crow. Oh, never mind, that wasn't an issue at all. Let's check what's in here. We can do it, but I'm not too worried about the little bit of damage here. Actually, you know what? Let's do it. But that's it for this run. This is a useless weapon that is a nice bit of damage, nice bit of money, and brutality, as always. Now, our primary concern is going to be mostly a lot of the traps around here. We'll try to find a safer spot first. Preferably one of the larger rooms here, where it's a lot easier to handle all these enemies at once. And perfect. Find ourselves a legendary weapon, shall we? Never mind, I should use Flurried Shock way more often. Swing at me. Hold on, Kayla. Isn't that a little bit of cheating, isn't it? Well, you know the answer here. Perfectly timed. Oh, wow. We didn't even need to attack him. Pop this open, see what's in here. If we can roll a reliable way to do some fire... no, that's still not going to compare. Never mind. We're gonna get way more damage off these twin daggers, at least until we find another legendary weapon. We might not have to swap for the rest of the run. Usually it's around the second area where you're supposed to finalize your build. Cheating can be good, yes, and I do say that I'm not too concerned about the semantics of how I get up there, but fine. No, there's quite a few people who said cheating can be good. Dr. Eggman himself cheats very frequently. I was hoping I'd get just a little bit of damage I needed. That ruins our kill streak. Truth be told, I don't have an actual indicator after the stream on who's subscribed. YouTube doesn't send me those notifications anymore. Why don't you... what? Describe that one to me, Sanic. I assume you're asking me about making React videos, which I am not going to ever do. Unless they do a reveal for a new Guilty Gear character. It happens to be the one I've been waiting for all this time. Hey Joy, welcome. We are having a wonderful run so far, and it looks very promising. What's up, Haru? Haven't had a chance to play MechWarrior with you, but I do believe I should have some time for that after the stream. I got home today and was exceptionally tired. I kind of just wanted to take a nap. I will play into horror content as lightly as possible, Sanic. Don't look forward to it, as I'm not going to let it happen. Survival, since we don't have much of a difference in HP here that we can get. Not taking that firebrands. Stomp. Stomp. Bigger stomp. Get him off the edge. Ah, let's try to shoot for tomorrow then. What is that? Thursday inscription. I might be able to figure out sometime earlier in the afternoon. Those birds are so weird to figure out. Do the other event mechs have unique bolt-ons? I wonder. Careful, Sanic's probably trying to trick you into watching something, horror-related. We will go ahead and pop a flask here. How to scale up some more damage, I wonder. Or perhaps just play a bit more responsibly. Let's activate you, and then get the drop on him from up here. Oh, he moved. See what we got inside. Not a bad selection, but we are not running a build that scales with any of those stats. So, no. Dares have no power over me, Sanic, but Haru will answer for himself. Themself. Yeah, I do appreciate a good bit of psychological horror myself, much more. Alright, I do believe that's every relevant enemy taken care of. And the 2 skills we have should do just fine for us. On to the next level. Now, Scarecrow is usually a problem for us. We can actually try to do, a spiked shield set of parries versus him, but let's go for something a little bit easier first. Our #1 goal is getting to the end. We'll swap once we arrive in the next area. At that point, we mostly just have to focus on bossing, since we only have one more biome to go through after that. Only 30 minutes and we're already here. Usually we're about 15 minutes slower on average. Oh, right. There's always something down here. Another cleaver of less power. Excellent place to use that. Would rather have not had to deal with all those guys at once. Now we're going to have a little bit of trouble KOing everyone in one hit. But the Predator ability does let us get in. Hello there. Give me something magical. That's a little bit better. It doesn't actually change our damage with our two primary weapons. It will reduce the damage of our skills slightly, but more importantly, it has bonus passive damage resistance. Now, our biggest issue is going to be dealing with those guys. So let's save our skills for them, shall we? Check over here. Looks like this is going to lead into another tower. Ah, right. If we wait for them to do their attack, then we should be able to basically one-shot them with the spiked shield, right? Like that. Those people are going to be obnoxious. Tower's where you die most. Well, I would recommend getting some practice, as it's the easiest of the biomes you find at this stage in the game. But it's definitely around this point where the game's difficulty starts ramping up. And parry that back. Don't need you anymore. Don't need you. This is why I said that the daggers might be a bit of a problem. They're surprisingly slow for a brutality weapon. Speaking of daggers, not nearly enough damage. It is a legendary weapon, so it probably just has higher DPS than all of our other options. How do you get the rocks to come out when you slam? So that's the telluric shock, that is my skill. That one right there. You get that one from getting to High Peak Castle. That is one of the enemies there that should drop it. Are you winning? So far, we're actually doing wonderfully. We haven't won yet, but we are in the process of winning. Quite comfortably. There, we're starting to ramp up damage now. Welcome everyone on Twitch. Ooh, Funny enough, I will actually keep that one in the backpack. I might swap over to the rampart when we get to the final boss. I just don't engage in horror content altogether, Sanic. At least, seldomly. I don't exactly have a coping mechanism, as it's not an issue that arises very often. Wonderfully. Looks like we will have to make the very no. That's supposed to be a one-way stop right there. Huh. I think you're not actually able to get through this without taking damage unless you have the spider room. What an interesting little setup. I'm not going to test that. Not yet. Not now. See what's behind door number 1. Ah, shop. Nothing's going to out DPS what we have. And wonderful damage on that parry. Yeah, once we get to the bosses, we will need the Rampart Shield. During the biomes, though, we can definitely make good use of the Spike Shield for the very high damage it has on parries. I wish those guys would have more reactable attacking animations. But it's actually a complete mix-up if they're going to drop a grenade, and then usually after grenade... And now things fall apart. Luckily, the little bit of invisibility interrupts whatever other attacks they might be doing at the time. Did you resolve that incident, Sanic? If it wasn't someone watching you, what was it? Yeah, red. Damage is best, and we really should just focus on parrying correctly and avoiding it altogether rather than trying to focus the build around not taking damage where possible. Or having a build focused on being able to take damage. This is why I shouldn't talk and play simultaneously. And on to the boss fight we go. Now we think, because now we change up our build completely. Or at least our mutations. Weapons stay together. Well, excellent set there. Reset mutations, we will need disengagement and extended healing regardless, as we want to get more out of our, Actually, let's do that. Running a brutality-focused set of stats and using survival skills. Funny how these builds change. Pick this up, but we will... No, we'll wait on using a flask. Where's Error? Not present, but it is kind of funny that we have such a cohesive group of regulars already. I see a lot of other streamers that don't have so many people who keep coming back so frequently. Ah, darn. Almost. Get the little bit of invincibility, focus on the parries. And there we will pop a flask. Which should have mostly healed us by this point. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. See, it's so much better when you actually try to play defensively. So we'll just have to keep up our focus and do that instead. While we still took damage a few times, we avoided it for the duration of most of the fight. Emergency triage. There's another good one to have. That one makes your flasks give you a bit of a shield for a bit, and while they healed less, they do activate immediately. Or at least much faster. However, since we have disengagement, we should be able to do a lot better on getting a good time to use our flask, especially between that and the Rampart shield. Upgrade the forge, that is all we are concerned with immediately. Everything else here is just fine. We are heading to the shipyard. Well, welcome, Haru. Only shown up for that one time for mech warriors, you say? I am pleased that I am entertaining to you. That is some very good pacing. Take a drink every time you go through a loading screen. Well, thank you, Haru. I do look forward to more Mech Warrior, hopefully. I would love for there to be some word around town that there's more VTubers playing Mech Warrior. Grim Graham, I still have not yet looked them up. I must do that soon. This will be much more powerful than the other weapons we have. Let's see here. We're not too concerned with the DPS of the cleaver there, especially since we don't have much synergy with it. We're more concerned with getting large area of effect, so that we can focus on a few smaller enemies at once. They aren't full-on kid-friendly, but you have played with them for a bit. Let's focus on survival, since that actually buffs up... That should buff up our legendary weapons. More importantly, we do want a little bit more health. Oh! We are not taking damage there. Good news is, while we have Armadillo Pack, our dodge rolls will parry projectiles. So it will help a lot more against the bombardiers here. Really, why did you wait? Maybe we should roll into them a lot more frequently. Weird case here. I think I'd actually like the 32% HP more. That gives us an extra 3,000, and we did take a lot of damage from that armored shrimp. Why? Okay. Okay, so they have a different attack when they hit you vertically. I see. Noted for the future. And you probably can't parry that one either. Oh, okay, so they only do that under those platforms. Got it. Very valuable research. There's still so many things that I can discover about this game. Especially since we're having to deal with the new DLC. Ah, interesting. That grenade stunned even though it didn't have a stun effect. Sure, Sonic, let me hear your joke. And stomp. Ah, it lets us roll through the anchors as well. I might actually have to use Armadillo Pack on builds that aren't even survival based at all. Because that's a wonderful set of effects there. Stomp, slash, and continue. I'll take that kebab. That gets us over the bleeding threshold. And now next time we take damage, we should do a lot better job of surviving it. Off-screen, really. Well, you are an elite enemy, I suppose it's befitting. One, two, three. Roll through that. Huh. It feels like it does a lot of extra damage on rolling through those. Why did the bicycle not move? Because it was too tired. Absolute classic, that one there. Find a better spot to fight you. Ooh, perfect parry. Interesting! The reflected projectiles from the Armadillo Pack deal so much more damage. I think that might actually be an exploit of the mechanics. Yeah, there we go. One shot. Let's get our way up there. We're almost done with this level. Gonna be AFK. Well, thank you for still pumping up the numbers, Sonic. I appreciate it. Always. Nice one. Be a little cautious, especially since we can wait for our stuff to recharge. Stomp there, get that 1, 2, 3, and another one. Twin Daggers has a lot of recovery on the third attack. So that's what we need to be careful about in the middle of battle. Ideally, we can do 1-2 swings, then parry, and then do a really big critical hit damage on the third swing. Looks like we still have some exploring to do. Huh. Drove him right into the spikes. Go ahead and pick this up. 10% HP is not much of a difference from 23, so we'll still pick that. Come back here, I'm not done. That allegedly did almost 1 million damage. What an interesting selection here. We probably should have looked for something survival related, see if we could have found a better rampart. Although a 5 will do just fine. Nothing in this corner. Disappointing. Funny enough. Oh, wait. You can't look at the minimap because I'm covering it. You know what? I'll bring up the big one. So, you see a lot of these rooms are shaped kind of like shipwrecks. It's kind of funny how they orient the walls and ceilings. Let's take a look down here. He tried the trident already. I have, and I'm not sure that I like it yet. It takes a bit too long to get going. And 60 KOs. Alert shock. Ah, darn. Not where I wanted to hit it. I wanted to avoid fighting the mutineers, as it's still a little difficult for me to read their attacks. Like so. Now this is disengagement, which gives us a little bit of a shield when we drop to low enough health. At this point, we pop a flask, which will take a while to recharge, but if we do that immediately, we get a few seconds of uninterrupted healing. And that should take us back to full, correct? You know, it's kind of funny. I want to take the tonic again. We'll do that as something extra to pop when we actually get to low enough health. We get the barrier from it, the increased defense, and we should be able to heal mostly without it getting reduced again. So that is the extended flask, and what that is that's 2 different perks. So you see, if I move my face over here, the second perk relatively at my eye level. Your flask restores 85% HP and the effect is spread over 10 seconds. So it does give you a full heal, but you have to be able to be safe for most of it. We combine that with the first one, disengagement, activates a force field if your HP falls below 15%, protecting you for 5 seconds. So disengagement activates, we pop the flask immediately, and it should restore us to 100% HP. It does require us to be a little bit safe for the next few seconds though. We will have the shield from disengagement, but after that we're still regenerating some health and we still need to be a little careful. You can find the extended flask in a hidden room in the ossuary. We actually found that on one of the most recent streams. I got a feeling there's gonna be another shrimp in here. And there he is. Alright, wonderful so far. Oh, where's the freeze the grenade, that's what's causing the freeze. Seems they automatically stun themselves after their attack. He's gonna No, Siphon, don't click on that. He's gonna send you a horror link. And Sanic, if you actually continue doing that, deceiving your other classmates, I will actually mute you. I do not appreciate shenanigans in my classroom. Or, well, you can prank the streamer as much as you want. Me. That's perfectly fine. Do not prank your fellow classmates. Earlier Sanic was talking about some horror thing they found that they keep trying to get people, including myself, to watch. We're not gonna have a, what's it called? We're not going to have a forge after this, so we do want to invest these cells in something. Emergency triage is something excellent, even though I probably won't use it. Tactical retreat would have probably been a better effect. Funny, we had exactly 100 cells. Bonus damage to a poison target, which we are able to trigger very easily. Alright, full health, full flask, and the most survivable build that we can muster. Where is air if we can't see it? The interesting thing about that, Sanic, is that air is measurable through other methods. So, things that you don't see, well, visual indicators is not the only way to tell that something exists. Thank you for your attendance, Sanic. Of course. Really, I roll away and that's not good enough. Well, she does have some very long reach with those things. Let's get up here and get this taken care of. Oh, look at that. Okay, pretty simple maneuver. Looks like she does 1, 2, 3, and the third hit is the one that does an earthquake. I'm going to guess that her name is pronounced Oiterpe? Get me out of here as quickly as possible. Really? You can damage that? Gotta be careful. And here we go. Oh, there's another healing item here. Guess that might be pronounced UTEP. UTEP. Actually, I like the idea of that one. Let's just focus on those parries as much as possible. And get our swings, then go back to dodging. There's a reason I always use the Rampart. It's an exceptionally powerful item. Oh, interesting, we can reflect the little arrows like that. You're obnoxious. Like the U in Euclidean. There is an R in there, I think. It might be euterpe. I was actually thinking, a German name I know, Eugen, which is spelled E-U-G-E-N, but it's pronounced Eugen, interestingly enough. Posture check, here's the hard part. You gotta make sure we're ready. These old bones crack more and more each day. So we have a combo here. We want to parry with the Rampart, then activate Tonic and Powerful Grenade. Actually, we just get to activate everything together. Once we've hit them, Rampart and then Tonic, we should be able to launch a very powerful grenade on them. And then Cleo might be a lot easier to read. Should be. Where did he go? I didn't see him for a second. I don't think I'm ever going to perfect this boss, ever. There's healing over there. What do we have over here? Nothing. Though we do have a healing in both faces. It's on the left in the first one. Euterpe? Euterpe. Possibly. Let's wander in. Get that parry and have our lethal damage to follow. As long as we can parry her out of the air. I don't think we have time for our big combos. We can definitely deal our crits like that just fine. Pop our flask, put up the barrier, and there we go. We can reach full health relatively safely. Sorry, Calliope, I want your item, but we're not going to be able to get it. Not at this rate. Why are you so eager to vanish afterwards? Guess we might just have to dodge roll through that rather than try to parry it normally. There we go, there's some damage. The good thing about having both a shield and a dodge is we can basically panic dodge and then parry immediately afterwards. So what's your research, Sai? Roll through those. And there we go. Once again, we're left with the same person dying, so... Oh! We get a new outfit instead. Yeah, the chain ball I'm not looking forward to, only really because it would have been a survival weapon, do I care. And for the sake of completion, but it's not a very good weapon. Not at all. Very well, this is the second time we've actually beaten the servants. So here... is it? Euterpe. Okay, Euterpe. Name a Greek deity, one of the muses, and the one who presides over music and lyric poetry. Euterpe. Okay, got it. Never mind, we do have... Interesting! We have another forge up here, since we technically have two bosses. Oh yeah, pass by given that, so... Pick up this last flask. Alright, before we begin, a deep breath. And I have to use the bathroom, but I'm going to lose my momentum completely if I get myself out of this mindset, so I'll last through it. Rock and roll. You again. So stubborn. On guard. And here we go. Okay, I have no idea what your attack spells are. I can at least hit that one reliably. So she has a grab. Interesting. Oh. Well then. I'll take it. Okay, so that is a counter shield, if we hit it. Pop a flask anyway. And we can't parry that. There we go, finally a bit of a barrier. And pop it again. What is this, boss? Well, I do believe we've been schmixed. A lot. I couldn't read any of those, what seems to be feels like 12 different attacks. This will be a lot harder than I anticipated then. Although we did make the folly of having a lower power weapon once we got there. You saw how little damage we are doing. What we can focus on this time is even if we get a legendary weapon, drop it by the time that we show up in the ship. At that point, we will need to focus on getting a better version of whatever weapon we have. Even in the midst of all those parries, it's so hard to see what was going on. Indeed, she had a lot of health. But we were using basically a 4 weapon. At that point, we might want to try using an 8, which will have so much more damage to compare. Welcome, Strong, we just perished. So unfortunately... we've been having a little bit of trouble with this game. Been a while. Welcome back. Yeah, I do know some of her shenanigans, but I'm still mostly going to try to focus on Rampart. Looks like a lot of our attacks, when they're parried, she'll immediately deploy a shield. Laughter is my coping mechanism. You want to know what I do when I'm scared? I laugh. Ah, ho ho. And parry. Yep, we just died, so we just started over. Again. At least we have a better idea of what we're supposed to do versus that boss, though. We will definitely pick something a lot better for the damage. Maybe even a DPS build. This looks like something I could use a few eggs. I'll take that. Take this and then store this in the backpack. Rampart is still the best shield, and the only reason we lasted that long in that boss fight. So given that she has the grab and a lot of our attacks are difficult to react to, might take some time to learn the conditioning for that. That is one of the weapons, actually. It's a reference to the game Guacamelee, so one of the skills will turn you into a chicken, which then proceeds to drop explosive eggs everywhere. Can you fight her in the practice room? That's an interesting thing. I'll look that one up here. Let's take a look. If it turns out that's the truth, this will actually be a very excellent thing for us to get some learning of her tells. We get a different set of equipment completely. I see. We get to choose whatever we want out of them. What a nice selection. And let's just go with these. Yeah, that was the final boss, so that one's gonna be hard. Concierge, the Timekeeper, Hand of the King, Scarecrow, Mama Tick, Conjunctivius. We have not yet fought the giant, and it doesn't look like we will be able to do. A shame. Man, what a boss fight. I might have to change my answer once I get a better reading on that boss. That one might be a good favorite. Ah, this guy again! Hello there, welcome to the combat room. I'm handling it for my knightly friend. You can call it Undead Solidarity. Pick which enemies you want to fight and press the button. You can even select enemies from a specific zone of the island and instantly fill the room with them. Oh, and don't worry, you can't die here. You'll just go back to the entrance. Give it your all and train like crazy. Wonderful, but I don't think we need to worry about specific enemies just yet. Cute. Well, we can't practice against the characters we need to fight, so back to the one. 2 in 1 minute, yeah. The bots are everywhere tonight. And given my metrics, it looks like we might have a third shortly. Now, something I've been neglecting to do. I got that DLC, darn it. Hold on. I thought I downloaded it. You know what? Let's fix that real quick. I'm going to go ahead and head to the store page immediately. Go ahead and bring ourselves back to the main menu here. I need that Rise of the Giant. Download? Well, I technically already have it, right? This might be a very weird situation. I am borrowing this game from myself on 2 separate Steam accounts, basically. So if we have a bot game with free DLC, I am going to have to buy this game twice, since I have to own it in order to have the free DLC. I'm thinking about playing Dead Cells for the longest time, but you keep finding yourself just not buying it. It is exceptionally affordable, and I will always advocate for it, as it is the greatest game of all time. That's right, we've gone up a level. It is no longer my favorite, but everyone else's favorite. They just don't know it yet. The chicken's very funny. I love it too. Euterpe, I'll remember that. I think there's a mobile version too, which might be a lot more accessible. Well, not more accessible, but you can play that on your phone and a lot easier to find. Very well, how will we route this time? Well, if we have the rampart, we should actually be able to have a much easier time in the Arboretum. Keep running. We can't dodge roll, we can only jump. But that skill has so much potential in the right build. Look at that! So much damage. We will appreciate the better function of the mobility of the dash though. So we'll do that instead. No to that grenade. Let's look around over... That looks like most of the environment traveled. Well then, what a very quick run through the area here. The prisoners' quarters. Let's rock on out of here in this direction. And go through the dilapidated arboretum. I love this game. Okay, we're once again in another predicament. We have so many games I just want to be playing regularly, but I want to be a variety streamer. Scoot back up and lean back in the chair. Now let's try this again, but this time we might just want to focus on a lot of damage. Let's go ahead and get that armadillo pack to pair with the spike shield here. Save the cells for the forge. We want better items on average, especially since we've unlocked basically whatever set of weapons we'd want. Broadsword will be replaced by a better survival weapon pretty soon. Armadillo pack. Sell this, since we're doing so wonderfully so far. There's so many games I want to play, but it's so difficult to figure out how I can fit all of them into a schedule. Come here. Oh! You can just dodge roll through them and... Well, it looked like I hit him with this. So, 2 shields. And we still have a weapon to use. Ah, darn. He still had just that last little bit of health. Hello, friend. I will try to pronounce your name. Hold on. I actually don't know what the other symbols on the... what the other punctuation on those letters would be. Tan-sung? That's my first guess. But welcome. Parry. Go ahead and get a couple of hits over here. And... that's actually a much better rampart. We can just go ahead and buy that one. We're mostly using it for defensive utility, so we will wait until we find a better one later on. Either in a shop or otherwise. Almost. I should have rolled into him. That would have actually gotten the parry damage. And look over here. And there's going to be another third of the level on the other side of this room. I think it's actually random if it's on the left or the right side where you have the double rooms to deal with. Ooh, nice parry. Just at the last moment. Pop the tonic. 1, 2, 3. And that one raises our damage, so we will pick that one. And the instant we pop that invincibility from Rampart, just go crazy. That's why it's still my favorite, as It enables you to use any weapon in the game because of the invincibility frames. Again, survival focus. Not a better spike shield, and not by a long shot. We also will neglect using the Owl of War, as that does mess with a lot of our parry timings. Wolf Trap. Better than the light speed, we will pick it. And now we finally have a survival weapon in each slot. 1, 2... Where to be headed? Guess that's this entire side of the level wiped out, so let's head back in the other direction. So the new plan now is once we get to a shop on the shipyard level, we will go ahead and buy a weapon from there, which might still have more damage than any of the stuff we've been using so far. Get that roll parry there. Wow! I might just have to use Armadillo Pack all the time. Although it's really only best if you're pairing it with the spiked shield. I wonder if it triggers the effects of every single shield you use it with. Or if it's just the damage. In that case, it would just be best with the spiked shield. But I wonder if I could pair it with a rampart and get invincibility after dodging an attack? You just immediately picked them up. Just ran right past him and immediately grabbed him and yeeted his little friend towards me. Taking a bit of damage, it will be very good for us to find a scroll that buffs our health or our tactics really soon. Get him locked in place so he cannot fight me back. You can actually parry the little guys while they're in flight, which, of course, can actually KO them. The absolute betrayal of the Yeeters throwing their tiny friends towards you, only for you to meet your death. Now, I'm not sure that I want another broadsword, so let's see if we can find another one. Shark is also not quite as good, and... yeah, it's taken us forever to get this here. I'll wait until we get a bit of a luckier roll in a future biome. After all, the first few here are not going to be difficult. Also, we're having the weird case of the Armadillo Pack greatly raising the damage on reflected projectiles? Or maybe that's specifically an interaction with the spike shield. I'd love to do more research on this one. Get you hit with the homunculus rune, so that we can damage him while he is otherwise trying to block us. Same with this guy here, we'll just damage him like that. Perfect, just the scroll I was looking for. Do you think you can get to BC3 if you wanted to? If we just went through Hand of the King, I think it would be very possible. I have beaten this game on BC5 offline. Though I did have a much better forge, too. which is why I'm focusing on pumping as many cells into that as I can. The better weapons we find, the more damage we do. And the reason why we lost that boss fight was because we were dealing such pathetic amounts to the boss. Also, if I wasn't going through all the new DLC, I'd have a much easier time. If I just went through the shortest, easiest route, we could definitely get to Hand of the King and beat him on this difficulty level. But the instant we get to BC3, it becomes even harder. And so does the Queen. I'd rather be fighting her while we're in a situation to be making progress from it. So, let's see if we can beat her for the 2BC ending here. Before he turns around. Oh, wrong button, of course. Perfect. Even though we did actually take damage from a few hits here and there. Here should be skills, but our selection of skills is just fine here. They are OP when you get used to them indeed, and I can't even beat the game without them. I don't think I've ever had a run fighting a final boss, except maybe on 0BC, that didn't involve using a shield. After all, you get a better knowledge of your boss's tells. BC, that is boss cells, and that is essentially a measure of how many new Game Plus cycles we are on. If I move my head, oh, you can see it normally. Just to the side of my head, there is the 2 there. That is an indication that I am on New Game Plus 2, and we've been stuck here for a while. Move me back into the corner a bit more where I belong. I prefer to obscure that part of the UI. I should be front and center of the minimap, which you should not be able to see behind my face. More accurately, my neck is in the way. Enjoying long-range weapons. Tactics weapons are the meta, I believe. So a lot of people are going to be focusing on that. Let's see if we can do a Heart of Ice build. Which, if we pair that with the tonic, might actually give us a lot of good ways to tank through damage if we get to a boss fight again. Always take this first cursed chest, as it's going to be the easiest one to deal with. And funny enough, while we might not keep it... Actually... I kind of like that idea. We will swap with them and see how it works for the rest of the biome here. After all, I could use the faster damage. As well, a pet lets us not directly engage with too many enemies. If we can pair that with a shield that gives bleeding damage, or just the right setup, we can probably get some very good DPS off of this one. Go get him. Parry? Ah, good. Got it. Let's focus on the guys up here. And perfect. We might actually go with this one. Funny, we actually parried the explosion because of the roll there. You don't know how you get your ammo back because you find it hard to use when paired with the shield because you can't kill them fast. Well, here's an interesting secret for you. A parry will always return your ammo to you. So if you have a bow and shield build, just parry. Yeah, you go deal with them. I hate dealing with all these guys. I don't know that there's ever actually a tooltip in the game that informs you of that. That's mostly just something you have to discover on your own. Yeah, Serenade doesn't deal nearly enough damage. 282 versus... yeah, no. We're not going to keep our little friend here, unfortunately. Sort of a liability. Really, with a lot of builds like that, you gotta focus on having a lot of passive damage, or ways to really build up those crits. Maybe if we use the Crusher on the final boss... and maybe we can actually use a Wolf Trap instead of the tonic. The tonic's great, but we're trying to avoid damage as much as possible, as well as inflict extra damage to her. Just barely missed that parry then. Let's go for one more run. And hopefully this will be the one to do it. Especially with a little bit of extra knowledge on our side. So our focus here is buying new weapons, basically. Better weapons. The slow effect from the Crusher also means that we should have a much easier time reacting to the boss's tells. And not get grabbed again, so we can tech that throw. And here's the legendary weapon to carry us to that point. Oh, never mind, it's knives. I don't think that works with us. 1, 2, 3. Although it will actually be much better than the broadsword, so let's do it. Until we find a better weapon to use instead. Oh, quick! Before they invalidate it. This way we can engage pretty safely with most of the enemies. Also helps us deal with a lot of the smaller gremlins running around. Oh, never mind. Looks like a lot of damage. This might actually be a very good choice for us. I appreciate the question, Siphon. It's glad to actually get someone into this game. It's a good one to discuss. Damage is a little pathetic, though. Isn't there a... no, controller. Gameplay. Hold the button to chain rolls. Interesting. Hold to attack. There, that will throw knives as quickly as possible. We'll just do that instead, since it's a little difficult to get a read on when we're supposed to time it. Nothing in here is interesting, so we'll just sell one of them. Those items should all be the same price. I do appreciate the question, Siphon. I really love the opportunity to get someone to try out this game. Ossuary it is. Stretch. Take a drink during the loading screen. Have our little ground pound here, and let's continue. We will save up for the forge. That's just our highest priority now. Let's go for spite for the time being. And I'll take a little bit of health, thank you. Since we are doing a lot of reflections and parries between a double shield build that uses Armadillo Pack, that should raise our DPS quite a bit over time. Even more as we level up the skill. Also gives us a bit more of a damage source. Interesting case that we have a parry build, which will let us get back all the knives that we stick in someone. Between the Toxic Cloud and the effect on the legendary weapon, we should have no trouble dealing with large crowds. And you see how much that DPS builds up. But that's not an enemy we can parry. Okay. How does a syringe like that bleed, anyway? Surprisingly, this won't actually be trouble with a boss, as we'll be able to parry them and get all of our ammunition back very quickly. I really like Dead Cell's way of handling ammunition. You do actually have to monitor that, but it helps you focus on getting a KO. We will get rid of the tonic as we're mostly focusing on avoiding damage with this build now, rather than trying to face tank through it. We could also go for ammo. That's the one that gets critical hits at long range, right? My opinion on that one is it's only good when you have a build that, it's only good on a tactics build that has a better weapon for damage in every other situation. Or it might actually be good in a, backpack build for tactics. But it's generally forgettable and not very good against most bosses. Oh, the shockers can't bleed, huh? That's gonna be a problem. At least it's doing so much damage on everything else. Welcome back, Haru. So glad to see you again. We're having kind of an interesting situation here. We picked up a legendary throwing knives, and it's okay. We don't yet have any better options, though, it seems. Damage is a little underwhelming. At least possibly for its speed, who knows? Brutality in this case for the extra HP, and continue. That is a dead end there. Let's actually try to look for that cursed chest. I think we can make use of it, as the ossuary is one of the safest biomes, he said, while he was on incredibly low health. But we just need to play more cautiously. I got a good feeling it's at the end of this hallway here. We have some shops, and a rune on the ground here. Excellent. We can definitely make use of the food. If you die in one hit, does low health even matter? True, and that's the entire purpose behind, tactics builds. But we are running a survival build, which is designed to absorb about 5 of them or so. 5 hits. We have a very weird choice with the knives, though. But it is a legendary weapon, so it will scale very highly with our damage. With our, stats that we're getting. More importantly, we are replacing it with the katana here. Absolutely. And just recycle the thing. Probably would have been better to use the knives for, a safer range source of damage versus these enemies, but there's also the good chance that I just end up throwing the knives that get stuck in someone and don't do anything. Streaming is very fun, Haru, and I've had a wonderful time doing it. Careful. Perfect. Mech builds would be very fun. I'd love for there to be more mech warrior content. Still need to look up other VTubers that would be getting involved. One more. Ah, we can't use our homunculus rune like this, so... one parry and we're good. Toss this over there so I don't have to deal with that. Oh, that auto-aim. Interesting, the hold to attack actually messes with the katana timing quite a bit. So we will take that off. Have you unlocked any of the crossbows, Siphon? Those are very interesting weapons, and they scale with both survival and tactics. They are two-handed weapons, meaning they take up both your primary and secondary weapon slots. They'll have usually one way to strike, which sets up critical hits for the other one, and let's just, take that and... oh, wait. You know, we've actually been getting screwed over by legendary weapons, so let's drop that one, since the colorless katana here should do just fine for us instead. Yeah, the crossbows are very fun, and I'd recommend them highly. My favorite is probably the explosive crossbow. You get a good melee hit and a good ranged weapon, but you can do them both on a survival build, funny enough, which normally does not use those types of weapons. Well, which normally uses a shield, rather than a ranged and a melee weapon. That's usually saved for the other two stats. Toss his grenade back and get one of ours over here. I did see your post about the Shadow Cat. I look forward to trying that out sometime. Do keep an eye on the clock though. If you are running times in CST, it might be past the time you said you were looking to go to bed. Do be very responsible with the time that you spend here on the stream. I do understand I'm entertaining, but I do always keep the VODs up on YouTube, so you always have a chance to go back and look at them again in the future. Now think about that confidence boost. I am an important part of someone's life. Multiple people. That is everyone we care about. There's a shop in here. Let's take a look. Katana needs a bit more work. Although the spike shield is doing just fine. So what we might want to focus on is a legendary weapon that we find later in the run. After all, that spiked shield was doing so much more damage than the twin daggers were. Wait a minute. We got the twin daggers from the clock tower, right? I think that's how that one turned out. Never mind. While I try to be honest and wholesome and direct with my viewers. It has done a lot for my confidence in myself. I should really work on the model. I hate how there's the glasses glare that so often just obscures my eyes. I should get that fixed. Although maybe it's not an issue while I am live, since you see it shift back and forth so frequently. And wouldn't obscure my face so often. You know, we could pick up a colorless weapon before we fight the boss. Let's do that. Save one cell, and then once we get to the last two bosses, focus on those. Seems like a good set. Let's not focus too much on the... Oh! Bonus damage versus rooted targets. We have a perfect setup here. And in that case, I think we are back to the proper purpose of our Heart of Ice build. What time is it for you? I am on CST, so it is currently just after 10 p.m. Wait for that to be over, hit him with that. Look at that damage. Let's focus on something other than the katana though, as that's a pretty bad weapon for trying to use on a rooted build, since it moves us so far forward when we swing it. Come on, come back over here. And there we go. Perfect. Let's try to look... All of our damage there was because we had the bonuses versus slowed down and rooted targets. So let's see if we can get lucky with our rolls in the future and do that again. On to the fractured shrines we go. Take a moment and think. We have inflammable oil, so we can definitely focus on dropping the crusher since that does not play into Heart of Ice. I have a cat that often disrupts my streams. I don't think he was here for Mech Warrior yesterday, but he often invites himself to sit in my lap without my consent. James, who might have already left the stream, has a few cats that he often spends his time with. Next one, I will have to actually get up for a drink. Oh, be careful. Oh, interesting! With Armadillo Pack, we can actually roll through those and reflect them. I might have a new favorite style of build. Hey there, Perry. And a nice bit of food. We will come back for that later. 2 basset hounds. I wish I could keep that many pets. It's been a long time. My apartment policy does not let me have more than 2. But I have just 1 cat. Like to see my eyes more. You know what, I might actually talk to my, rigging dad. I've been in contact with him lately as he's trying to set up a profile for, a portfolio, not a profile, to advertise his work. Which would include all the other people he's rigged for so far. And in my case, even did the art. We're taking the risk here. So I'm going to ask if you can mess with that a little bit. I did love the effect at first, but it does very often, when I look in just the right direction, obscure my eyes. It's much easier to state the critical hit on that one, and it won't move us forward nearly as much. That should be better for a katana and for the build that we're doing. Parry. Alright, now to be very careful. And that's why I run with both a shield and... Alright. Posture check. And there we go. Roll through up. Sadly, those guys don't actually count as enemies to slay. Probably because they respawn indefinitely and, in most cases, are pretty easy to deal with. Roll through you. Stab, stab, stab. Ooh. The dodge roll that saved our life. Take a look in here, and let's wait for our skills to recharge. before we fight the Guardian Goliath. Base rig stuff's very fun. I actually did that for a little bit before I messed with becoming a VTuber. Not on an actual streaming channel, mind you, I just did that with my groups of friends, as we'd hang out during the night. Now, let's see about that Guardian. Only 1 HP off of full. Ooh, 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 ooh. This is better than the fire grenade, I'd say. We're still wanting to focus on a Heart of Ice build, so we'll combine that with the Crusher here. You have no idea how I can do what's going on all at screen at the same time. So that is the result of 300 hours of playing this game. This is, as I've said, and I will say it forever, my favorite game of all time, and so I've played it exhaustively, and know everything about what's going on. I played enough to get the muscle memory in my hand, basically. You will see that I'm stumbling over my sentences, and usually the issue there is I try to stop whenever I have to focus on something. That's why I often take pauses mid-sentence. It's so that I can focus on figuring out what to say. I have only so many brain cells to spare. Muscle memory is integral. That's actually one of the reasons I've had so much trouble getting back into Guilty Gear, because the controller I did use for all that time is still broken, and I just have to learn it on Mixbox all over again. But slowly but surely, that's what I'm focusing on. We're not concerned with the shocker over there. Ooh, nice roll. And taking damage again. We almost had our streak. I've also played this game enough to where I can understand a lot of the audio cues, and know when an attack is going to happen immediately afterwards. Funny enough, a colorless weapon might be better for us than a legendary one. Indeed. And a wonderful hug. Thank you, Haru. And I am thanking you even if you give it to someone else. Not the best at roguelikes, but also terrible at platformers. This might be a bit too difficult then. I'd say give Zero BC a try. It is a very affordable game. So if you can beat it the first time around, you should be able to do just fine. So next time we come across the scroll, I do want to get a reading. Allegedly, legendary weapons scale off of 2 stats. That might have changed. Nice blow. Perfect. We're also going to change to get bleeding damage so we can basically make our stiletto here as powerful as possible. That will send its DPS through the roof. I think since we have such a good selection of items, let's not try to kill every enemy in this biome. We'll still be able to get a good amount of gold by defeating most of them. We'll also want to find a new rampart soon. Is the quick bow better than the ice bow? I'd say yes. Ice Bow is really only good for setting up combos with things that are good against frozen enemies. Oh, of course. But the poison there makes quick work of everyone. So the way we win this is by stacking up specific damage types and advantages. We have bonus damage versus bleeding on our Sadist Stiletto that already gets critical hits versus bleeding targets. So we need to set up bleed as reliably and easily as possible. Now, we can take open wounds, but what would be best is if we could get bleeding on our shield. Then again, being able to stack up extra bleeding with just every attack we make is a DPS farm in and of itself. And parry. Stomp, slash, 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 parry that. Still not enough. Let's compare that to Armadillo Pack, which for some reason deals so much damage even though that's supposed to be less than a usual parry. There might actually be a very weird exploit with using Armadillo Pack. You'll see that gives a lot of damage on those reflected projectiles. Jump off over here, and look for any scrolls that we might be missing. And this time we are not changing builds, we are focusing on survival all the way through. Gives us the most HP and the best perks for when we have to get as much healing stacked up as possible. Does this get me back to full? And just barely. Just barely not. Let's see what's down here. There should be another, chest. We go through that door down here. And no, that's gone. Go through here, jump up over here. We have plenty of gold, so no need to worry about trying to buy too many new items. We might be set. I will speak overconfidently about this run, as we do with every single time. Ripping Mutation is broken. Interestingly enough, I actually don't play in a way that abuses it. Might be something I do in the future. Looks like this is going to be setting us up for another lore room, right? Yeah. It's just that all over again. That should be it for this biome, so onward we go. Back to the clock tower. And in this case, I have run out of water, so I will have to go grab a drink. Let me hide down here real quick. Alright, 2022 resolution for New Year's. Commission someone for screens for start and we'll be right back. Do it. That'll be enough for now. After all, when we combine both of these, we get a similar damage profile. Let's see, we can forego Spite. Let's focus on getting the bleed damage out there. Heart of Ice, Armadillo Pack, and Open Wounds. So we can get that bleeding damage out there. Oh, never mind, we have some money. Let's see. No, we'll wait. We'll wait to see if we find a better weapon before the end. Not going through the Sepulchre, as that level has killed us very recently. It's a bit of a problem. First things first. Nope. Dodge roll and reflect that over there. Oh, wow. Took care of them and I didn't even have to get involved. Alright, this time we're just focusing on survival as... Oh, right, we do need to check another scroll that we're not going to be investing in survival in. So when we come across another one that gives only brutality and tactics, I would like to actually test that. I thought I read for the longest time that legendary weapon scaled off of 2 stats. Huh. Melee attacks inflict bleeding. Hold on. Let's look at something here. Melee attacks inflict bleeding. Our Rampart does not have an inflicts bleeding effect. We're only going to be able to test that on a melee enemy. Don't really need to replace either of our skills yet. Ah, Wolf Trap could use replacement. In the future. We'll wait until we find a shop once we get to the shipyard. Dodge roll. Reflect that. Do it again. Slice them up, and okay, let's see if this makes this guy bleed. Wow, okay. So, Open Wounds actually affects shields that you parry with as well. That's different. I didn't know that. Very well, we can get bleed damage off of just about any setup then. If we keep a distance away from those cannibal enemies, then we shouldn't have to worry about the grenades. Then we can worry about just intercepting them when they go forward. That was a lucky parry. Fire grenade is a no. And hello there. We will not go in there until we have cleared out enough enemies to get 60. We're on a kill streak right now. Wow, Armadillo Pack is incredible. Reflecting projectiles by rolling through them. More skills. Didn't we just pass by one that had skills? Little redundant, I would say. Just a few more kills should work. We need 23. Oh, I automatically picked it up. I wanted to check the damage of our weapons before and after. Well, never mind then. I'll just look that up sometime after the stream, possibly. Should have used the skills on them. Well, in that case, we will head back up to the portal here and get ourselves another scroll and an amulet. This one levels up 2 stats, so I'll take it for the little bit of survivability. We will try to replace that with as many instances of survival as we can. And that is why we waited, as I very often take damage in these platforming challenges. Take that. So you found a legendary oil sword, and you have a shield in your backpack that burns enemies. Should you switch out your ice bow and cudgel? What stat are you... Ice bow and cudgel. Is that a survival build? If you're running a brutality or survival build, you can definitely do an oiled sword run like that. I would say don't do it if you've been focusing on tactics, as there's a lot of perks that you can repurpose for between survival and brutality. Not so much for tactics. Brutality and survival builds basically both work for melee, but handle things a little bit differently. You might consider brutality as a proactive melee, and survival as reactive. But they both operate in the same range. Oil sword, as long as you have a reliable source of burn, is one of my favorite builds, personally. Just so satisfying to get all those crits. No, because that doesn't really make us any better. Thank you. And money in this one, thank you. How many of you are there? Can't go through there. We don't have the key, which will be off in this direction. You know, you see the village in the back here that has the little monolith. I wonder if that's ever a level that we'll get to see. You see all this stuff going on in the background, but I don't really know what a lot of them correspond to. You can see the clock tower in a lot of places, and the lighthouse in a number of others. Wonderful. We shouldn't have any trouble with the clock boss, but we will be re-rolling for a lot of better potential damage once we get to the servants. We'll need as much damage as we can get there, too. And that's why I hate you guys. And we just got the cells, so now that we're already back down here, we can just leave. Oh, perfect. We have 2 wolf traps. And parry. Give him a few cuts. If you stand at a distance from those enemies... Oh, Hokuto's bow. That's something I've been waiting on for a long time. Used to be one of the best weapons in the game, and it might still be. Now, we swap out the spike shield we have in the back. Nope, that is only a plus, so we will not be able to upgrade at one more stage. So 77% base damage. So our parries off of using the roll should just do very scary amounts. Mace swinging at me, and of course I fall for it. We are good to go. On to the boss. If we play our cards right, we can finally try to perfect her. Especially since we have so much potential damage off of this build. Nope. Although I will put that there. So, Hokuto's bow basically just builds up DPS, so it's used on a lot of tactics and brutality builds that focus on that kind of stuff. Drink our flask, head on, and we will continue. Necromancy mutation is very, very good for a survival build. Actually, it's been so overpowered that it's been nerfed like 3 times, and it's still pretty good. In conjunction with a tonic, it's incredible. But it's ideal for a survival build that can make use of having only half health. Well, isn't that a joke? And parry that, drop these again. I parried that! You're lying to me. So close. So close. That would have been the first time I perfected her. Indeed, we might actually have the damage to get through this. And since we have it focused on 2 traps that actually lock enemies there, this should be the best way that we can deal with the servants. They shouldn't be any bit of an issue after this. Everything else about the build is shipshape. We will take that extra bit of health. And everything looks good for the next level, so onward we continue. Second and hopefully our last try of the night. Stream will be over after this run regardless. They're here in full force, I see. Get out of my classroom. I do not teach machines. So the first thing we want to replace is the wolf trap, hopefully with a ++, that we can then reforge into an S. We can actually probably carry the stiletto with us. Okay, so here's our test. Assuming legendary weapons scale with 2 stats, we have 7,568 damage on this crusher here. Our second highest stat is brutality. If that number is higher, it is higher, so I wasn't crazy. Alright, we know it to be the truth then. Legendary weapons scale off of your 2 highest stats. Isn't Leviathan technically a machine? Yeah, but she's special. She's a full-blown AI, not a simple program. There you are, I was waiting for you. Over here. Wow! That didn't actually grab him. It is stunning him though, which is a good sign. Get away from me. I do not want you destroying my platforms whatsoever. Ah, that releases them from rooting when they use their attack. Noted. Noted. Ah, okay, good. And hello there. Wonderfully done. Okay. Continue on with survival. This one should not be difficult at all. Not with how well we've been doing so far. Get that over there, and continue. So, this is Xander focusing and spending a lot less time just chatting up a storm. Come over here. What a perfect pair, those two. The wolf trap and the crusher. They're perfect for each other. You know what? I changed my mind. That is my OTP. Crusher and wolf trap. And they just work so well together. What's really disorienting about the shrimp enemies is that they use the same sound cue for when they're doing their onto a platform attack or their sideways attack, both of which have different timings. And not really much of a different visual cue between them. It's difficult to tell. Oh boy. Perfect. Now how to deal with all of you. Good night, Haru. Thank you so much for your attendance. Alright, we got plenty of DPS on these guys. And because of Heart of Ice, and the fact that it pairs so well with the Wolf Trap, why is that your ranged attack and why'd you do it right in front of my face? Fine, there goes my kill streak. What are you trying to do? Alright. Cat is being a little... Come here. Let's see. Little guy just wanted to be let out. Not a problem. Not a problem at all. Oh, wow, that's a lot of rats. Perfect opportunity to use the trap there and get all the poison. And everyone is here. Hello. Alright, we're still taking damage, but we should be able to just use one blast before we get to the next level. And then we'll be fine. Right. Getting so close. So close. Here is where we look into purchasing new weapons. First things first, I would definitely appreciate a new rampart. Gives us a little bit of extra damage, but more importantly, it has extra effects on it. So, take that, sell the old one. $20,000 versus about 10,000 DPS. Hmm. Yeah. This is just outright a better option. Ideally, we'd find a colored loot somewhere. Yes, it's slow, but it's also the one I'm the best with. And it has bonus damage versus a slowed down target, so that damage gets even higher. It also lets us not have to worry about speccing into the bleeding skill. So we get one more thing we can swap out. Yes! More importantly, I'm strumming some nice tunes. This is my personal favorite weapon, as it just has really huge damage. Ooh, that parry. That was nice. Huge damage and huge range. If you time your attacks with the hits, if you time your button presses with the hits, you'll see we get the red effect, and then a much large... Yeah, interesting take on a bug. I play a bard class in Dead Cells. But the big red circle we get off this third attack here is the entire hitbox. And you can see that lets me take down a lot of enemies at once. We're not focusing quite as much on the bleeding damage, since we're going to be taking off that perk and we have the Crusher there, which is our only legendary weapon. We will instead focus on tactics for the ever so slight edge it gives on the HP department. Also, the fact that it's freezing enemies in an area after we kill something. There we go. We can also reliably get its 3-hit combo after a rampart, or at least the first 2, which are the only ones we're concerned about. We also got our 60 kill streak with this weapon, so... we'll be able to find a better weapon between the next 2 biomes. Oh! There's a hidden room over here. Okay, let's see what's inside the treasure chest. Sell that, we don't care. This is a very interesting level design. It's basically a giant maze, though. I'm impressed with how much space we cover in it. 1, 2... Get over here. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, that outfit looks interesting. And with the right setups, if we start swinging as we fall on someone, we should be able to get the 3rd hit before they're able to attack, which is what we did to that pirate fellow there. And missed my dodge. Again, the mantling system is the only issue I have with this game. You automatically grab onto ledges when you get close. Sure, freeze my game and make it stutter. we're not concerned with one enemy. Not so much. There should be another shop or treasure down here. Skills. Let's see if we can find a better wolf trap. That would be the only change we have to make to our build at this point. We can definitely afford that. Yeah, let's do it. Although that is only a plus, that's not a plus plus, which we would have been looking for. We still have one more scroll over here. So, down into the depths we go. What is... that's weird. Wonder why it had the extra little spot there. Found out how to save a key in Stilt Village. So if you go to the very end, right before the elevator to... I'm shutting up. So, the elevator right before the clock tower. You head there, and there is a parry shield blueprint over there. Ah, the scroll was over in that direction. We didn't need to come down here. I am not popping a flask, as we'll be immediately respeccing into extended flask in the next room. And I'll be able to get more health off of that one. So, we just need to play this last room incredibly carefully. Yeah, keep that key. I'm guessing you went over the spot in the center. That requires a little bit of wall jumping. Keep it. Go all the way over to the right, and you should have 2 keys total. And then there will be one more blueprint right next to the elevator, off to the right. Very furthest right side of the map. Two, three. 2, 3. Dodge! Oh, okay. Perfect. That could have ruined our run right there. Alright, I think that's every scroll. We are good to go. Last minute checks, since this is the last time we'll be able to change our equipment. Crusher is good. Rhythm and Bazooki, we can probably reroll that one a little bit. It does have some nice effects though. Rampart, good. Let's reroll the freeze, since that will definitely disrupt a lot of our parry attempts. Actually. No, that'll be wonderful for fighting multiple enemies in the next room. I wish we had a different amulet. Wolf Trap will require a few reloads. Oh, right. A lot of our weapons we're going to be upgrading regardless, so they will require a reroll anyway. Onward we go. Very interesting. We're keeping those cells since we're going to try to put them into the forge right after this. Upgrade you, upgrade you. Reroll that. Reroll the most important ones first. Very good. I think that will work. Poisons the enemy. Burns it. Okay, poison and burn stacking up together. That should be just fine. And that pairs with the wolf trap. So now we just need to reset our mutations. And again, disengagement, extended healing, and... do we still want Armadillo Pack? No, we want Heart of Ice. That's right. So we don't need to worry about this shield anyway. In that case... sell that. Drink this. Take this. And now we re-roll for better effects on our loot. Ooh, the critical hit damage bonuses there is really good. We have basically 2 more re-rolls. You know what, let's risk it. That'll work. It seemed like it kept rolling similar effects with the bonus damage and then the damage versus a slowed down target. How do you get back there? There should be a, platform that you stomp on. There should be a little, part jutting out on the side of the lighthouse there. And there should be a platform that you stomp on, and then you platform your way over there. Alright. Xander's gonna stop responding to chat until we get to the breaks between the little fights here. Stretch, this is going to be difficult. Oh, of course. Get up here. I wonder. Okay, we don't get health after the first fight, but we will after the second. So, meet the rhythm and bazooki. You want to know why it's my favorite weapon? There's the answer. Uh-oh. Okay, fine. Right up here. Right up here. And on the left will be a healing item. So, the best part about this trap is it will hold one of the enemies here in place. And then we won't have to worry about dealing with them too much. Come on. Just gotta lead him over here. Two, three, four. Ooh, how did we stop him? Oh, her. So that's that one down. We need to get her into a trap. But she will run up here promptly. And that doesn't stop her from teleporting. Alright, stretch and flex. On to the next phase. We have disengagement to protect us in the worst case scenario. We'll want to avoid staying above Calliope for long since she has the upward swinging base. Get away from me. Best one yet. Okay. Rock and roll. I have to use the bathroom. This is gonna be an experience. Three. Ooh, got it. But not for long. 2, 3. And that's why the Rampart is best, because it lets you set up that full combo. 2, 3. One, two. 1, 2, 3, 4. Dodge. 1, 2. And be prepared for when they show up again here. Okay, good parry. Why are you always the last one? And we did not use a flask that time. So, if you want my answer why the Rhythm and Bazooki is the best weapon in the game, that high amount of damage and how quickly all of those girls melted is your answer. Oh, hello there. Really? They're doing that to us, huh? Delayed hedgehog outfit. Okay. I think there's an outfit that we're going to prioritize. But, since we're here at the forge, invest all of our cells. There it is. Flask, replace. And now, before we begin, one more bathroom break, and we'll be right back. Take 5, everyone. Here's the big moment. Ew. Okay, okay. Okay. Hunker down, here we go. We're getting ready here. Make sure no backs need to be cracked. Honestly mesmerized watching. Thank you. I am very proud of my ability in this game. But this is 300 hours of work that I put in. Real quick, how to get the bell tower key. That is one of my favorite secrets in the game, and I could definitely not unlock that without looking up a guide, unfortunately. So, throughout the bell tower level, there are 4 bells in various different rooms. When you hit them, they ring at different pitches. Ring the bells in the order of the lowest pitch to highest pitch, and you will get the bell tower key. And if that's wrong, then it's highest pitch to lowest pitch. I think it's low to high. Ah, yes, I will need to practice for stomping the queen here by first stomping this spot. Get off of my channel. You know, that loot animation was very befitting. That was exactly what happened. I bonked him with a musical instrument. Hello, queen. Bonk indeed. Alright, pop both traps and let her get close. And pop him again, since we're running Heart of Ice. Run away. So, would you like an answer as to what the best build in the game is? It's the one that doesn't let your opponent play. We just perfected her. We just perfected the final boss. Well, not yet. Now we're perfecting the final boss. Perfect sigh. We did just kick her off. No easy way off then, is there? And there it is. The flawless queen outfit. I haven't even perfected the regular boss. I haven't perfected the level 2 bosses yet. Oh, this is just me activating my power level. Ah, well. I told you we'd be getting through it, and we got through it. It's just the Evangelion trope. You should know it. The whole glowing glasses and the steepled hands. How wonderful. Let's go ahead and skip those credits. I don't care about those too much. See if we get any different restart. Now we are on boss cell 3. So, we're on a newer difficulty, and we are not yet done with this game. because we just made it ever so slightly harder. Kai, welcome! So glad to see you. I'm sorry I didn't get to your stream earlier. I was actually napping at the time. I would have wanted to see that so badly. Ah, no different set of circumstances here, but you will all see the new enemies and new challenges that we have ahead of us next time. Oh, wait. I hit the wrong button. Next time. So, tomorrow... what is today? Today is Wednesday. Tomorrow is Thursday. We will be doing Inscription at the usual 6 p.m. CST. I absolutely love Dead Cells, and we have finally hit another really, really big milestone. And I'm not done with this game yet, so let's just see if we can keep it going. I might try to do it maybe weekly, maybe along with Dead Cells, but there's just so many games I'm trying to fit on the schedule at once. I'll also be trying to fit in collaborations, since the last one went so well, and there's a lot of stuff to look forward to. But it is a very late evening tonight, so I will formally dismiss class right here and now. Thank you all, everyone, for your attendance. And as usual, read off the names of anyone who is still here. Kai, thank you very much. Oh, Kai, hold on. Kai, what's your URL? We have a couple of people here from the Twitch side. And I don't have a shout-out function yet. Show more. There's my guy. Alright, I'm just gonna drop this right here. King Kai over here, actually, and I'm going to show you even without formally asking you. He's another VTuber who just began, and he's also playing Dead Cells. So if you'd like other similar content of Dead Cells VTubing, then go visit his channel. He has just started out, so plenty of new things for you to learn if you are also looking into trying this game. Sai, thank you very much for your attendance. Captain Kiki, always love seeing you. I really wish I could visit your streams a lot more often, but I don't have the time. I'm gonna try to prioritize it a bit more. But thank you for your attendance as well. Siphon, I will be setting up donations in the future, but I really only plan on doing that once we reach the formal milestone that monetization is allowed on YouTube, and I think that's 1,000 or 2,000. No, I already have Hollow Knight. I don't need to buy it. So, thank you very much for your consideration, Siphon. Who else are we looking at? You are a bot. Get out of here. Haru is gone, but thank you, Haru. Strong, thank you very much for your attendance. Long time no see. Glad to see you return. Hey, Joy, thank you for your attendance, as always. Move my face back up here. I should also zoom in a little bit. I'm not taking enough space. Oh, that's going off screen. Never mind, I was the right size. Maybe I just need to resize it in the actual window here. Kayla, as always, thank you. Sanic. Leviathan, if you elected to lurk this time. Thank you, everyone, and a good night to you all. We just perfected the fucking final boss.